trust in Fnatic to do proper preparation for a team like IG, because the coaching staff behind them, we have Dalo, of course, getting so much praise. We have the manager Ispa as well, making sure that players are eating healthy, they're working out, and everything Fnatic as an organization is doing is supporting these players, and they're just making sure that as long as they focus on the game, they should be able to perform at the top level. And that's what you need. That's what the West needed beforehand. We see the same for CLG now with their coach, and they're now the #1 team in North America.
Yeah, that support staff is giving them the consistency. Gentlemen, I think it's about time to meet the starting lineup from the European LCS. One of the most hyped top laners. It is, of course, the Hollow Master himself, Huni. Reignover in the jungle, Febiven in the mid lane, Reckless as the AD carry, and the French player for Fnatic and captain, Yellowstar, the support. We saw some glimpses of Dalo there on your screen just behind the players. He is their coach. Their opponents today in Victus Gaming, they will be on the red side of the rift. They will be representing the LPL. And they will be starting with Zitai in the top lane, Kakao in the jungle, Rookie in the mid lane. Kid is your AD carry, and then Kitty's their support. Coach on stage as well is Mafa, formerly of the LCK. Now in Victus Gaming, they had a bit of a bumpy end to their summer split, ended up placing 3rd seed in the after losing to EDG in that battle for the 2nd seed.
Yeah, heavily inconsistent team, but we really have to talk about how strong their top side of the map can be. The synergy between Kakao and Rookie, as well as the emergence of Zitai on those carry top laners, should challenge Huni and Reignover's synergy in that top lane. Yes, the bottom lane can go to Fnatic's favor if we see that, but the top side of the map is so strong for IG, it's going to be a fascinating matchup.
Yeah, and in the mid lane, of course, Rookie, the guy getting praised as one of the best mid laners in the entire world. He's going against Febiven, and it's very different how the teams are looking at these mid laners here. Fnatic obviously don't really play around Febiven too much. It's about these side lanes. But Rookie and Kakao, their synergy together can shut down almost any mid laner in the world. Febiven is a guy, though, whenever he plays these top names, these really, really big star players, he does tend to perform even better. We saw him solo kill Faker at MSI. We talk about it so often. So I think he will be okay in holding his own. It's when Kakao joins in, we get some problems for Fnatic.
Yeah, but I got to ask a bigger question. If Kakao's joining in against Reignover, isn't this a massive mismatch in the jungle?
It is.
Everybody was saying Kakao's going to beat up on Reignover.
Yeah, and we've seen so many times watching IG's games how he gets almost slingshotted ahead in the jungle, because Kakao is one of the few who still gets pulls from his duo
It's
lane.
unfair, man.
To get level 2 super fast, that means he hits level 3 faster than the enemy jungler. It means he gets double buffs, and it means he can start invading the jungle and take over the game. When asked, actually, Kakao, if he was going to show that his synergy with his mid laner was legendary at Worlds, he says no, he's going to kill all 3 lanes, because that's why he plays jungle. So he's getting slingshot in that jungle, and he's going to be looking to carry some games.
He's one of the few real carry junglers we have here at Worlds. We see a lot of these guys who play more for the team. We see a lot of late game picks still coming in with Cinderhulk. I'm expecting, at least for the team fight, Kakao is the guy who will still pull out the Nidalee, and he will just go to town. And he's so strong in these one-on-ones. Scary guy to watch for, but he's also fairly inconsistent. And that has been the downfall of IG. When he doesn't get rolling, or if he doesn't push Rookie forward, Fnatic suddenly might get towards the late game and do really well.
Consistently inconsistent. I think we've heard it from every single analyst when they're talking about IG. Yamato actually with some strong words there that you can roll the dice. IG not having a 6 on theirs, implying Fnatic does.
Yeah, I don't agree on that one from...
Of course they have a 6.
Yeah.
IG has some of the highest highs and the lowest lows of LPL teams. That's exactly what being inconsistent is if you're still a good team. So I agree that if IG absolutely has the capability of rolling high.
But this is now a new patch, a new meta, all these new picks coming in. And of course all the teams have been boot camping in Korea, so they've been playing each other. They've probably seen all the picks, but everyone will have something secret ready. So this pick and ban phase, we have 2 teams who are not afraid to pull out, you know, the different kind of things. We even saw Time Kench from Yellowstar, top lane from Huni at MSI. There's a lot of new picks, so this one might not reflect 100% what the meta is going to be.
Right, it could be specific strategies just for this game even. We want to make all these conclusions about what the world's meta is going to be, but it's really going to take a ton of iterations throughout this group stage. We probably won't even start seeing it until the quarterfinals happen, because there's going to be so many in-game and out-of-game adjustments that happen here. This first champion select just has almost too many possibilities.
Yeah, some of the really strong picks we've heard a lot. you know, from the players, and a lot of people have been talking about them on Twitter and on Reddit and so on. It's like there are 3 picks, it seems, that everyone agrees on are super, super strong. Lulu, of course, as a flex pick, top and mid lane. We have Gangplank, the same deal, can go top, can go mid. And of course, a Mordekaiser down in the bottom lane. Very snowball-focused champion, but when he gets rolling, he can take over the game completely.
Yeah, and what I find so fascinating about that is even though this is a new patch and those champions have been nerfed slightly, China got to play on the 5.16 patch for the LPL finals, and when IG qualified against QG, they were letting Lulu and Gangplank through to the opponent team on multiple times, and they've been nerfed since then. So even those champions
Playing on
are
hard
now
mode.
considered high. We have no idea what's happening.
Well, we're going to find out. We've talked about Maud, we've talked about Lulu, Gangplank, we've not even mentioned Fiora or Darius. And ladies and gentlemen, for the game 1 of the 2015 World Championships, we are into picks and bans, and the dunk master Darius is dunked into the bans.
Not really a big surprise. Fiora and Darius, as you just mentioned, are being hyped up quite a lot as well. And we have to remind people, this is the blue side ban for Fnatic, so they might still be able to first with one of these 3 picks we just mentioned before.
Yeah, the Lulu ban makes a lot of sense. Fnatic had a ton of success, as did everyone running that as a flex pick between the mid and the top lane.
And that can be a very interesting thing when it comes to red side, blue side now, because red side used to be where you could like target ban a little bit more because you wanted multiple OPs to be open so you can get 2 of them on your side. In this case, if there's only 3 that every team agrees on, you have to ban away at least one of them, and then you can trade the last one. They go for all 3, it looks like.
Mordekaiser ban, first of its kind that we will see.
Gangplank is still up, gentlemen. There are 2 bans remaining. I wonder if these teams will be looking towards that, as is Kalista. We've not touched on some of the AD carry roles yet either.
Really, Vayne is actually banned before Kalista. Kalista has received some nerfs throughout patches now. One of the lowest win rate you have in solo queue, but still tremendous competitive capability. It has actually been left up with Gangplank going down. I wonder what Huni will end up playing and how much priority is on the first pick. Really not that much, it seems.
But this was exactly what we just mentioned before with the red side. If there's only 3 super, super strong picks, you have to ban them
Your
away.
game
from
has
IG
started.
Side. They're just playing it safe. Not going to take any chances here. We've seen Reckless spam a lot of Mordekaiser in solo queue. At least I'm not surprised. I think she's the best jungler, open, or just available, basically, because a lot of them are very even, but at least this, for me, stands out just a little bit. Her early game is still great, and the fact she has the cocoon.
Yeah, so Nidalee, I wonder if Kakao is going to play this. For a second, I thought they'd actually locked in Aatrox. I was about to freak out.
It's not a European team.
Braum has been banned, so the poke from Nidalee would be higher, but Kakao actually goes for Skarner, as he did during their final regional qualifier match against QG.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
well.
the 4 juggernauts have already appeared in game 1 of Worlds. There's 5 seconds left for the lock-in. IG most likely going to go for the safe support pick, and it is the Thresh secured.
And you get one of these compositions now where your single target CC is so insane already in the first 2 picks. Stun from Skarner, then you pull them in with your ulti. The Threshold coming in as well. The amount of pick potential you have on just 2 picks, and also still very safe. Skarner's going to do fine dueling in that early game. He doesn't gank that well before level
What was that?
6.
Definitely want to see how Kitties performs. Out of the 67 games in summer, only 3 of them were on.
Not really. I mean,
For
it was an
Fnatic,
okay hand.
they now know
A
what
lot
they're
of this
facing
stuff is
with
really
Jungle. They know what
redundant,
support is,
so-
but solo lanes still left available for both teams.
And with both Lulu and Gangplank being banned away, that's 2 of the most standard flex picks we're going to see. On blue side now, you might have to blind
Well, I
out
was just
your
waiting
solo laners,
for you to
which can be
commit more
big,
stuff
big
to the
problem for
board,
Fnatic, and it would open
mainly.
up potentially for some interesting counter picks
Yeah.
for IG.
Yeah, well, what's interesting here is that
Like, after I saw you play out, like, Monastery Swift there, Monastery Swift Weir, and, like, Legion Loyals, I was like, okay, I think I can do this now. You left the 2 cards in hand, I was like, at 10 life, I don't think you can burn me out from here with the 2 cards, so.
That much success on neutralizing tanks like Maokai. So that's a very interesting
I wanted to get as many creatures as possible.
But it is one of these flex picks here for Fnatic, so potentially they can hide one of their solo laners, but I'm expecting to go to Yellowstar for the exact reason you just mentioned, and also this Shen would then open up another way for Huni to duel Zitai. And with Reyna, with John Kakao, John, so many fights on that top side of the map, Shen support would fit in super well there.
And a lot of opportunity left for IG. I like how long these teams are taking in the pick and ban phase. There are so many different things to be prepared for that they have to switch it up. And we already get to see Riven. Zatai, hello!
Rookie could also take it to the mid lane
He could.
for IG. But again, you have this conversation with Ashe. Even more single target pick potential. And then you add in a burst bruiser in Riven, even an assassin we can call
And
him.
Skarner.
And Skarner again too. Jump on that one target and simply just burst them down. Fnatic, they're gonna look to get a QSS. Not as the first item, but they probably wish they could.
Well, Invictus Gaming already with some surprises. And for Fnatic, I'm not seeing a lot of damage yet. They do have 20 seconds. They will be showing both of their solo lanes. And as we mentioned, that Riven could technically flex. If you were in Fnatic's shoes, how do you round this combat?
I'd expect a Victor of some kind in here.
Azir, Victor,
Just a reliable damage mage. We were wondering whether Febiven would be switching over to an assassin playstyle or if he'd stick with the more defensive mages. And it is Azir, not necessarily defensive mage, but a high damage control mage.
yeah, I think Azir is a little bit safer as a blind pick compared to Victor now that his early game has been nerfed a little bit. You can get onto him and you can duel him very effective. Azir can just, from basically level 1 or level 2, just start pushing his wave. And if he's in a bad matchup, you just push out your lane and you don't look to fight him
Oh,
from
fuck.
up to late. So I like that as the blind safe pick for Fnatic.
Oh,
Really
fuck.
blue side has been an issue for them because they have to show so
Oh, fuck.
And with the nerfs to Azir and lower movement speed, as well as the potential rise of assassins, we were wondering how dangerous it would be to pick Azir early, even though Azir can push up the lane here.
Waiting for
Also
you.
played Victor in his last 3 competitive games and crushed with it.
Oh,
It
fuck.
would be very surprising if he picks Azir.
Yeah, that was a funny thing about this 5-16 regionals
Alright.
we saw in LPL, where Victor just got nerfed, the CS just got nerfed, and yet it was Victor who became
I think I can still make this work.
impactful champions in the tournament itself. It's still super strong. Early game, yes, is affected, but when it comes to the late game scaling, it is even better than before.
Final champion locked in. There we go. Victor, once you eventually get to level 18, it outscales. I'm very interested to see how Skarner and Riven will perform. Team compositions are now rounded out. Jet.
Not only do we get to see Riven, we get to see Huni come back onto Hecarim again, something he hasn't touched in a really long time. Support Shen, it's really just a throwback competition for Fnatic. It's like we're on the 5-12 pack again with the champions they're playing.
I'm just looking at Fnatic here saying, we know you're going to play around that top side of the map with the Riven.
Oh, I'm
We have
dumb.
Shen support, at least strong early game jungler. We have an offensive summoner spell on our top
No,
lane.
I would have
We are
sideboarded a
ready
lot
to take
differently.
that fight.
Like, I didn't read
Whoever wins
Fulminator
it
Mage
might just run away
correctly.
with the game.
It's Destroy Target non-basic land.
Two of the most talked about top laners in the world.
And I thought it was just Destroy Target land, so obviously, like, it doesn't matter.
Getting them teams the last little bit of information as we load up onto the Rift.
Okay, I can do that.
In Paris, France, the audience is cheering on their teams, as are everybody watching at home.
I mean, the first pick in ban phase.
I love it.
We weren't
Absolutely
exactly
love it.
sure what to expect.
Maud, Lulu, and G.
I'm actually a little bit surprised because of how dated feeling Fnatic's champions look like. No one was expecting really Hecarim to be a large pick, or Sivir, or support Shen, and they have all of them.
Well, you did see the team comps on your screens. Guys, jump onto Twitter and vote for who you feel will be victorious and get that first W on the board. Hashtag FNC
Waiting on you, bro.
or hashtag IG.
Got any
Win.
upkeep
You
shenanigans?
guys, keep your eyes open. Be on the lookout for any pentakills or any Baron steals, because that is going to unlock a little bit of an extra chance to get a legendary or esports inspired skin. Guys, we do have a very brief pause, and I want to mention this Hecarim point you touched on, Jat. 21 games since Huni has last played that champion.
Okay.
Admittedly,
Yeah.
it's been
Ooh,
what, 2.5
another
weeks
mountain.
since
The
compared-
very beginning of the summer split.
Correct.
Been the last
How-
one we played.
24
Ever.
games total. So
Hecarim was a pick when he was used a lot. They always did really well into melee matchups because you can constantly just sit and spam your Q. And again, when you don't run with the smite as we saw for a period of time here with Cinderhulk, you have an offensive summoner, you're going to rush the Trinity Force. You are very, very strong in the mid game. And when we have these all-in comps on the top side of the map with the Riven jumping in, with the Skarner going in and trying to pull someone back, Fnatic are going to be ready to fight for it. So I wonder if IG is going to say, you know what, we're not going to fall for that one. We're going to try and play around the Shen instead and have this massive amount of teleport and action in the bottom side, where the Thresh and Ashe are there to provide the CC.
Yeah, and as far as the early game strengths of these teams go, I do have to point out, Kakao has only played Skarner 2 times. He picked it up after they actually lost to EDG when Clearlove played Skarner against them, and then he played it twice. In those games, he completed a Sightstone right after he upgraded the first part of his Hunter's Machete. So incredibly early on in the game, that would be really a Sightstone rush on Skarner, who already needs to farm until 6. So he's actually playing a very weak early game Skarner style that is pretty much all about defensive wards. That actually gives Fnatic a potential window to aggress on the top side, because Kakao's counter ganks are not that strong to support a Riven who needs a lot of jungle attention.
You're 100% going to see Reynova be more active when it comes to ganking in the early game than a pre-level 6 Skarner. Skarner, on the other hand, he often benefits a lot from having lanes that can push, so he can invade into the enemy jungle, contest, of course, a little bit in there. He's dueling pretty well. It's just running to a target pre-level 6 is not very effective. You have to land your E then to connect the stun as well, and that's very difficult for him. So we might see Reynova be very active. We've seen it before, Trevor, in Europe, how Reynova is constantly around Huni in that top lane and try and snowball him, because then eventually Huni would TP to the bottom side, and every single lane is
mysterious girl, move your body close to mine.
Come on, move your body. Come on, move your body.
I stop and stare at you, walking on the shore. I try to concentrate, my mind wants to explore. The tropical scene of you takes me up above. And girl, when I look at you, oh, I fall in love. No doubt you look so fine. Whoa. Girl, I wanna make you mine.
Yeah, come on.
Just let me be with the woman that I love.
The woman that I love.
No doubt you're the only man.
Whoa.
Who can love you like I can.
Yeah, man.
Just let me be with the woman that I love.
Vizier, when he gets the matches, he can really push the lane, but then Victor goes back with Vizier and just instant clears.
Yeah, and only in general, it's a question of what style we're going to see this game. Fnatic actually adopted a
Do your
similar
worst.
defensive or passive play style in the first 15 to 20 minutes of games over in the European LCS
Solid.
because they were so dominant. They didn't need to take large amounts of risks in the early game, so therefore they started playing more passive. But we'd expect in the month leading up to Worlds, playing against higher and higher caliber teams, that they would have adopted some more aggression. And we're kind of seeing that reflected in their tactics here. The Hecarim and the Elise are two champions that look for very early plays.
Yeah, and once again, Fnatic, when it comes to preparation, we know how much work they put into it. So, again, they've been watching all these games here from IG, looking at how they play. And I think we can safely say that over 3-4 weeks of boot camping, if Fnatic was still extremely weak in the early game and kept getting punished and losing games for it, they would have changed something. So if they stick to the style we've seen in Europe, it's because they've still been able to play well in late game team fights. The same thing I want to say for IG, though, because as a team, while they are so inconsistent, and we often talk so much about the early game, Kakao, Zitai, and Rookie, when it comes to late game team fights, I think they are a very strong team. They are in the LPL, fantastic practice, of course, and Kid is a fairly underrated AD carry when it comes to these team fights. I don't think he's ever going to do a whole lot in the laning phase because of Kitties as well, has kind of hold his hand in the lane. But then in team fights, Kid often plays some of these carries like Vayne and can go crazy.
Well, one game wasn't particularly great, but that's,
Okay,
not,
that's fair.
so much
That's
of a
fair.
story. Huni on the Hecarim will be setting his target on Kid. I mean, Ashe, low mobility. If Huni comes in with those TP home guard rushes, that could be a little bit of a problem for him. Assuming Fnatic gets to a good mid-game position. For Fnatic coming up against IG, their team fighting, you've talked about it. How much will this team composition affect their ability to fight?
I absolutely love Fnatic's composition in team fights. Right here, you have a fantastic engage on the back line, as you mentioned with the Ashe here, low mobility coming in. At the same time, if you look at what IG is running, when you have a Riven, you're never going to look to engage this head on. You want to flank with the Riven at first. So whoever gets that vision control before objectives can be super impactful for both Hecarim and Riven getting into fights.
There's also a few different ways ID can initiate. Obviously, the Ashe arrow is
That's the main
a
one.
really large part of their initiation, and that allows them to really single out one individual and will basically make it so if the Ashe arrow connects and Kakao goes in, Rekkles is required to use his Sivir ultimate just to match the fight, because they'll basically have to run in after whoever is getting pulled in. And I'm actually kind of happy we had the delay here because we did so much prep. We finally got a chance to talk about some of this stuff. We're back in the game.
Yes, we are, Jat. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back onto the Rift. for game 1 of the group stages in Le Doc Pullman. The Summoners Cup is etched into the mid lane to remind each and every player what they are competing for, and a defensive start across the board.
Febivan was the first man in the middle lane. That means he gets the trophy for himself, for now at least. IG gonna look to take it away from him already. Very defensive start. We see Kid sitting under his tower. This is in case Fnatic invades him on the top side of the map and start deep warding to spot where they're going. They won't see him when he's hiding here unless they just check all the way over the wall.
There are so many different lane swap scenarios, and in all of the LPL games we watched, it felt like the LPL games were the hardest to predict out of all of them. So here, it's Kid alone hiding behind one turret, which would be an indicator that they want to hide Kid up in that lane so that they can't scout where the AD carry is, but it also means that IG doesn't necessarily care if there's a lane swap or not. They're mainly
And we see right here, none of the teams really invaded in and put down multiple wards, just a ward here on the red.
Its Violent Outburst is an instant.
Trying to see if they
Creatures I control get 1/1/0 until end of turn, then Cascade.
If you don't see him on
Like
this map,
Cascade, and the only
within
thing that
next 30
has a lower mana
seconds,
cost
you
than
know
Violent
he's down on the
Outburst
bottom side.
is
That's
Living End,
always good
and
information
I
to have.
automatically get to
I
play
wanna
it.
see if IG wants to freeze this top lane, because they are a region.
It says I may
you know,
cast
the
it without
region
paying
that
its mana
very often
cost.
Focus on the AD carry experience in these lane swaps, and you can see Kid already up in his top side here, just grouping the minions together and gonna start a freeze for himself.
Let's find out how that freeze pays out. Reckless down in the bottom lane. Yellow
is
Star.
going to find something here. Just a little bit late on this invade. This was mainly an invade to check who was starting. He can now ping out Huni that he did a solo start, which actually tells the rest of the team a lot. Nice steal there by Yellowstar.
But this is one of these situations where if you do not invade in at level 1 to try and take over jungle, it's very hard for you to deny anything in the early game. So Huni got his camp, got to back down
That's
to the
dumb.
bottom side, and Reckless should be pushing this bottom lane if I know the Fnatic lane swap correct. And that means they're just gonna look to take over the bottom side of the map. But Fnatic at the same time, they didn't invade either. So we saw IG clear.
Yeah,
away
that was
the jungle.
stupid. I don't know why I
Raynor
did
and Huni
that.
can only get a grump for themselves.
Mistakes were made.
You can see them holding hands in the bottom half of the jungle. Raynor and Huni, that is. Tower is going to be under threat shortly as Reckless continues to shove the wave up. And every time we look middle, Febivan's trying to close out Rookie.
Yeah, this is actually where the lane swap will be made or broken. Kid is freezing in the top lane, whereas the bottom lane for Fnatic is shoving. And Hecarim and Elise are trying to cut off the Thresh and Riven.
IG can't do this. This is way too late. They're sending people down. When there's a fast push happening,
IG was slow
you
on this lane
know
swap.
there's gonna be 4 people on the bottom side. They show themselves so late that Fnatic can move in between tier 1 and tier 2 on the bottom side and zone them away, meaning Riven got absolutely nothing, and now they're late to pushing the top tower as well.
It can effectively turn into an untradeable turret because the rate at which Fnatic got to push that lane and how they can actually bounce that wave off the turret for Huni to farm means they would be able to rush top before that turret falls.
Oh.
This is very much now IG needing to take advantage of Kid's experience advantage that he will have because they will be down in the global gold race.
Yeah, IG won't even be able to touch the top lane tower here. Kid is looking to just maybe shove the wave out and then go back and buy for himself because he has nothing yet. Bot lane tower didn't go
Huni
down.
bounce
Mistake.
quite properly.
Fnatic recall a little bit too early, just got a little bit too eager in getting this lead here.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty big mistake there. Huni, if he would have gotten a little bit more damage from one of his allies before they peeled back to the jungle, they could have bounced the previous wave, which would have preempted the Zatai teleport. Now, Fnatic will have to add an extra person to that bottom lane if they want to take the turret. That sliver of health on the turret makes a big difference in the early game.
The whole strategy from Fnatic was to early take that tower and bounce the wave back so he would freeze and push away from Zitai. He will get less farm. He does have to overextend still because he's pushing down towards Huni. That's why Raynova is showing himself on the bottom side. And Kid just recalled from top lane. He didn't have enough gold for a pickaxe, so no advantage for Kid yet.
Yeah, not only is Raynova showing bottom lane, he's already used a pink ward there to give some more help to Zatai. Down in the bottom lane, Zatai's going in. He's going to use those broken wings, get some damage onto Huni, and Huni's forced to rampage away. Easy victory in the trade for Riven.
It's suddenly a problem right here for Fnatic. Because the turret was not killed, Zatai actually got to use some of his advantage. All that time investment that Fnatic put into hitting that turret, IG was using to garner experience for the majority of their team. Hecarim needs to be able to win the melee versus melee duel there. And Zatai
Which burn
would end up
spells are
getting
best
a
in
lot of
Modern?
farm in this lane.
Now, it's not all bad for Fnatic because they got the big wave coming down to Huni. They're even in AD carry experience, or maybe a small advantage for Kid, but not enough to make a difference. Even see Reckless hitting 5, seeing as he has the big wave coming down for Kid. So for now, it is not all bad for Fnatic, but they just lost a chance to get a big advantage.
Yeah, and what's interesting here actually is that Reckless has a superior CS score to Kid, despite Kid being left alone in that top lane during all of the early game action.
Wait,
Fnatic
so
actually able
they
to
can
use
hear
that in
me,
late
but they
Sivir,
can't hear
so
you?
it's somewhat a tradable lanes.
And I quite like Sivir into Ashe, because you can constantly push the wave here, make it fairly difficult for IG then to coordinate a proper gank, and you have the spell shield. So what Ashe would normally do is she's gonna sit fairly passive in the start of the laning phase, hit level 6, arrow someone in the face, and a TP comes in and you have a massive fight already started. Spell shield from Reckless is gonna stop that. Taunt from Yellowstar to dodge out of the arrow makes it very difficult for Kid.
Well, this is dumb.
And now he's just gonna get pushed down to his tower over and over.
Well, take a look at the trinkets already.
That sounds like I'm talking to myself.
Fairly early on for the mid lane, and we do see Kakao hovering in this bottom lane. Huni's gonna come out slightly ahead in that trade, as he did know Reynova was right behind for backup.
Well, also a very early Sightstone from Kakao once again. So he's going for some pretty strong river ward control. I don't necessarily expect Kakao to get in for some deep wards. And
Probably.
choice there. Huni
I
had
mean,
a
in
big
the
wave.
type of deck you're running,
Sorry, Zatai
like I
allowed
said, the highest mana cost
and
thing you have is
might
like,
look
what,
to freeze
3,
this.
4?
That's a somewhat dangerous lane unless he gets from support.
I do like the call though from Zitai just backing away because he knows if Reynova is on the
Yeah.
bottom side of the map, that's a 2v2
So-
IG is not going to win with a level 4.
He doesn't seem
Skarner.
super
So he
good.
backs away, he plays it safe, he knows the tower is too low anyway, and now we're just gonna have to see how Fnatic push up. I like the move again from Reynova. He's staying on the bottom side, and because Huni's pushing up, he can invade in.
Yeah, so this is the early mid-game power of the Elise and the Hecarim kicking in. We go all the way 5 or 6 minutes back to the beginning of this lane swap. This is what we
Right.
thought was going to happen for Fnatic when IG was slow to react to the bottom lane turret push. It
Yeah,
took
but
a while to
At
formulate
most,
here,
yeah.
but this is that early
And that's
goal
if you
that
did
we
it,
expected
where
from
it seems
Fnatic
like
going
most
into
of your
Yeah, and Fnatic
wins
wants
are
to
probably
keep
going to come
playing
from
around
like
the bottom
burn
side.
and
You're
just
gonna have Shen,
low
who can join in very soon,
aggro
still level 5,
creatures.
but about to hit level 6, and then you even have a numbers advantage. And as I highlighted earlier here, IG's bottom lane, it's very difficult for them to set up any play, so they're just gonna have to farm on the tower and wait for Skarner's level 6.
Well, getting closer and closer for Kakao. Kid as well as Reckless hit their respective ultimates, but with Kid having that early boots, he's 500 gold behind Reckless. So Reckless is going up for that BF sword. Is in fact starting to back Yellowstar. No Stand United completed just yet.
And Fnatic got to push the bot lane wave close to the tower, so now it starts pushing back. One of the minions will die to the tower
Call
itself,
for a
and Zitai's
random
gonna
number
pull
in
up a pretty
Middleton.
large wave that Huni has to make sure he gets, because you cannot afford to fall behind in this matchup. Even see Huni early frozen
Seriously,
guard
why
he's
is it that
aiming
they can hear
towards,
me but
because
not
he knows
you?
the all-in from Riven is what he needs to respect.
That one little longsword got lost somewhere along the way, but
You know,
definitely looking like he's doing a Frozen Hard Rush with a tiny little bit of offense.
Not losing there, or not securing the tower early on may have changed the decision making as far as Huni is concerned. He has once again got to that bottom lane to Fisher, looking to catch him away.